is so exciting to be in season 6 with you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every Saturday. We have yet another great show right here on Live on Purpose. So tune in, sit back, relax, call a friend, get a glass of wine, and let's get it. Everybody, we are live on purpose, and I am here with one of the moving sisters here in Cleveland, Samia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. There's so much to talk about because I know you are doing a lot in the community. So I just want to jump into the first big thing, which is your book. Let's talk about your book. What made you write this book? What's it about? Let's talk about it.
Okay, so short story long. When I was 12, I'm a product of sex abuse.
Okay.
So when I was 12, I had this idea of what love was, and
Okay.
of course on TV, everybody who was in love had sex. So I wanted love. So I said, prostitutes get a lot of sex, so they must be super loved. So I wanted to be a prostitute. That was my analogy.
Wow. Okay.
I was like 10 or 11, but that was my analogy. That's how I crossed. And so growing up after that, I kind of clearly figured it out. That's not what it was, but it just kind of shows the depth of what a young mind can cross when their ideation of love is misconstrued, and how if somebody doesn't explain that to them, but they can continue to believe that that's what it was. So when I wrote this book, it was for a lot of the girls who are misunderstood, the behaviors are misinterpreted,
Right.
and how do we understand that your mind can really go into dark, deep places when you're not, when you're not given the correct information.
Right. Now, I think it's kind of astounding at first, the number of young ladies, especially black females, that go through some sort of sexual abuse in their life cycle.
Right.
So this is definitely a book that will speak to them, because I do think we misinterpret love at a young age because of sexual abuse. How many ladies have you spoken to after reading that book that give you feedback like, this is exactly kind of where I was at?
I really wish I could stop my numbers from going up.
Wow.
So that that we can say that these numbers are going down. But I think it's been over 1,000 who have said that yes, or who have actually taken this book and acknowledged it or told somebody. So with that, if that's what helps you, bring it out. I had one young lady email me to say thank you for making me feel normal, because a lot of times when you're in that mind and nobody wants to talk about it, you feel like you're the outside, when there's so many people sitting next to you every single day that's been through it, that's going through it, and that's struggling with it. So it's a lot more out here than normal, than people want to accept, and the numbers are ridiculous.
Now, would you say that women who find themselves in a single cycle, so to speak, or abusive cycle of relationships, who have reached the age of 30 and beyond, it's because of some type of misuse of love or misuse of sex in their life? Have you found that?
I think that early, especially the earlier you are, onset of sex abuse can determine what type of relationships that you go into, and so that if you don't really deal with it, then you'll keep misinterpreting what love is. So I would say that it has a lot to do with it. Then there are other variables. Again, what type of support did you get after? And so with me, my family is very supportive. They didn't know about any of this until I wrote this book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a shocker. But I still had a lot of love and support in my family, so I didn't feel neglected. I didn't feel like nobody cared about me. So when you have abuse and negligence and drug use, there's so many variables that can make you go the wrong way. So can somebody? Yes, because I'm in a very healthy relationship. I'm married, have 4 beautiful children, but without all those variables in place, it could definitely go the wrong way.
Okay. What type of therapy, or what type of things should people seek that have been through this in order to have healthy relationships?
I would suggest any type of outlet, because again, I'm a firm believer that once you open up something, that's when the healing begins. Nothing grows in the dark. So if you are holding something in and you don't even address it, then it's inside, and you have a whole lot more room outside than you do in. So just open it up, even if it's just to tell somebody. Clearly the right person who's not going to knock you down.
Right.
But some people are into psychiatrists, some people are into holistic. So it depends on what you're comfortable with. You might be comfortable with your pastor. So, but as long as you find some type of outlet, so that that you can get it out. But when it comes to the things that I write about, this was the first story that I decided to write because it was the most personal.
Right.
But I really like to discuss how things that affect our community that we don't talk about.
Right.
So it honestly just kind of, this story opens up so many areas that, you know, that we don't like to talk about in the Black community.
I agree. Sex abuse is one of them.
Oh, it's like the biggest one.
It's probably the biggest one. What are some of the other things that you speak about, or some of the other things that you have come across with this being the start or your platform?
Shameless plug. So I have a new book coming out.
Okay. Next shameless about a plug, girl.
It's actually called Death of an Independent Woman, which talks about how we get into these careers, our life, our money, and we lose so much in our relationships. And I don't mean men relationships, I mean our family relationships, our children relationships. And we become so independent as a culture of women that we have lost what we need to be dependent on, which is our, I don't need a man.
Right,
I got my money, I got my bank account, my debit card. So it kind of segues into how some of these things lead into independent relationships, independence, and how that's killing us as women, because now we are so independent, and it's killing our communities because we don't need him, so he's not there. It's killing our children. So it's just, that's what's kind of what I'm moving into.
Right. Now, my question to you is, in your new shameless plug, in your new book, do you address the birth of the independent woman before talking about the death? Because I think it's so important to look at our history and why or how we got here. And I think part of it is that our role has changed over time for whatever reason, be it politics, society, what have you. But the rules have kind of changed, which made us kind of step up our game or change our game, so to speak. Do you kind of talk about that?
So in parts, my characters are fictional. Some parts of it, one of the mothers is a single mom, and then you have you have the segue, the regular relationship with the mother and the father to raise the children. So it kind of addresses different areas and where the independence comes from, and how it's how it's actually seen and what it's seen for. So there's actually a relationship that does go into this does work as a unit, and then there's one that says I need my independence because I need to be by myself and that type of thing. So it doesn't say one way or the other. It actually gives you 2 point of views as to what being independent really looks like. I didn't really get into the lynch theory. I didn't get into that part because it would have been kind of hard because
to take
it might have it might have some plugs in there about it, but if I stay with this genre of writing, that would be in what would be called something from the male perspective, and how we feel about why we had to do what we had to do, how we had to protect ourselves because there was no one else. But this one specifically comes from how we build relationships, looking from our mother's perspective.
Okay. When we come back, I want to talk more with Samia about some of the issues that young women face, with attention now turned to our young Black men. I want to talk about some of the things that are facing our young Black women when we come back, right here on Live on Purpose. Live on Purpose. Again, you can't stop a movement. Once it gets started, forward motion all the way. We want to take media to a different level. We want to tell stories that people want to hear. Radio, TV, so much more to come on. Live on Purpose has so much more to offer the community across the world. What's crazy is that I'm not inspired by your average everyday entertainer that you turn on the radio and hear. I'm inspired by people who have words to say that most people don't hear them. They go days and days without hearing. I'm inspired by the grandmother who's been on her street for 52 years and has seen and heard everything and still stands regardless of how many people have gotten killed right in front of her eyes. I am inspired by the everyday person who is great that nobody knows. The conversation is getting good, sitting here with my sister, Samia. And I just want to keep the conversation going. So when we talk about what young women are facing and some of the things that we don't talk about in our community, because our community, for whatever reason, just keeps things to themselves. What goes on in this house stays in this house mentality. But what are some of the things that you've encountered that young women or young girls are facing that are not being discussed or not being addressed?
I don't know the word. I'm quite sure there's a word for it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's prejudice against girls.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got 4 daughters. Tell
Okay.
everybody the story. I'm raising 4 girls, and the first reaction that I get whenever I say that is, "Ooh, girl, you got 4 girls."
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a negative. So
Mm-hmm.
automatically, just to raise a daughter, period, is a
Right.
negative in our community.
Right.
We speak negatively about girls to
Mhm.
them. We,
Mhm.
we raise them with negative connotations. We just have so much negativity, and then we don't understand why they grow up
To be
so angry.
Yes,
Right, so angry.
right.
So that in itself is, I think, when you have daughters who are coming to school and their mothers are pushing energy on them that they're not dealing with.
Right.
And so then they come to school and they give that same energy to teachers, and then
Mhm.
teachers in turn are giving. So it's almost like
It's
a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I would definitely say one thing we have not discussed is the prejudice against ourselves
Mhm.
and how bad we down talk one another. We don't support one another.
Mhm.
Though I've met plenty of women who do support.
Right.
Just
but as a whole,
as a
I
whole.
have to agree with you that we
As a
are
whole,
not
yeah. So
supportive.
we we're looking at each other, and what's she looking at?
Mhm.
I thought you was cute.
Right.
I was just staring because your outfit just kind of
just
did
smiling
something.
'cause-
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how I could do that.
Right.
So
right.
it's just kind of like we just don't have that smile for one another.
Mhm.
And so I think that once, and pretty much any time I talk out loud, I try to throw that in there. Like,
Right.
let's hold hands, let's
Right.
hug or something,
Yeah.
because we all we got at this
Right.
point. Not that we don't have our brothers, but at the end of the day, we need to be able to support each other so that
Absolutely.
we don't. So I think that's one of the biggest things that it goes kind of hush,
Right.
along with sex abuse.
Right, exactly. I would have to ask though, what do we need to do as the adult, females in our community? What do we need to do? Are we not showing each other enough love in front of our children enough? What is it that we need to do that we're not doing? And how can we hurry up and start doing it?
We, this right here,
Mhm.
like I was honored to get this phone call because I met you guys at Romeo's event,
Right.
and it's just being able to, no matter what we're doing, we can still show each other love
Absolutely.
and support each other and just support businesses and push businesses. So
Right.
when I don't think anybody has ever sent me something on Facebook and said, "Can you put that out there?" that I would say no to, unless it's just completely just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have my standards, but if it's what you're trying to do, I support you, you support me, and we
Right.
support each other. So yes, in front of your children,
Right.
don't talk negatively about. My daughter came from school one day and was talking about a girl some boy was doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
And she was like, "She's a hoe." I said, you don't know what she been
Right.
through.
Right.
And so I had to
Right.
have that real conversation with her, and I can't be dishonest with you. You're not allowed to judge her because you don't know her story.
Right.
So it starts young, it starts at home, because if we're talking negatively about other women or other girls, and she gonna want your man, and don't trust her, and no women to be,
Right.
then we're building these walls before they even get out,
I
and then
agree.
they already go out there. So just being more positive towards one another.
I agree. I think one of the things that I see is low self-esteem even in adult women as well as young. I'm trying to figure out different ways that we can change that. Do you have any ideas of how we can change the low self-esteem other than, I have a daughter, and from birth, you're beautiful, no matter what your body type is, no matter what your skin color is or your skin tone. But sometimes that message is not portrayed across all of the, youth or even adult women. How can we do a better job of it? Because I tell, girl, you work in that, or you're cute. I try to do that, but again, it's not always welcomed as well. What can we do differently?
So I gotta laugh because I moved to Atlanta for 4 years and came back. So there, even the most odd person, wait, hey,
Yeah.
I came back to Cleveland, and so I'm all bubbly.
Right.
Hey.
Right.
And you get the, what is she wait?
Right.
So I just try to keep that.
You. Right.
So I think I'm battling with that same situation with my girls, because I actually have 4 children who look completely opposite of each other. I know they talk about me in the grocery store, and she had all kinds of kids, fathers, but they just don't look alike. So I have to I have to uplift a whole lot of different, because they got different features, different situations. And so I just try to, keep telling them, and it's hard because my oldest daughter, she battles with it because she's a darker complexion. She has really thick hair.
Okay.
So it's just almost like just staying in her ear. I send random text messages. I send pretty pictures. I say, wear your hair this way. That's something definitely towards her style and just stay in her ear.
Yeah.
And she's 21.
Okay.
So, and I do that from the 9-year-old. So it's just kind of like staying in your children's ear, putting them around more positive people, bringing them to events that we do. Because to me, that builds character.
Absolutely.
That builds character as far as their community and, okay, well, I'm doing something and I feel a little bit better, even if it's not about my physical, it's about what I'm doing. So sometimes it's not about the outside.
Yeah.
If we're working on the kids from the inside and teaching them about treating people with respect and treating people with honor, then maybe sometimes that resonates back into what beauty looks like. So yeah, maybe not focusing on the physical might be a little bit better for us to handle.
We were talking about this on the radio show last week. We were talking about women in Cleveland and just the angry woman face that they walk around with, and it amazes me because when you go out of town, you're greeted with a smile or greeted with a wave, and you come back here and it's just angry face all the time.
I was in denial.
Yeah.
I was in denial because I would go home, and I'm a writer, so I stay in the house and I live in my own head. So
sometimes it's a safe place.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
because everybody in there know me.
Right.
So I'm out and I'm running around, and my best friend is a guy, and he was like, Cleveland got this angry, bitter something. So I go out, and as soon as he said it, it was like it was in every store, and I was like, oh goodness, he was right. I was so upset, but it was just like everybody cussing somebody out, and if you're not cussing, you're on the phone and you're super loud in the store. And so I think I was in denial for a really long time.
No, it's here. It's definitely here. Yes. And you know what? If you aren't careful, that type of energy can affect you. Like, I try to keep away from it. I don't want it around me.
I'll tell you something, we not on tape. But the whole thing is, it is. I think that again, energy attracts energy. So if you're around that energy, you're going to, and in the worst day, you can become the person that you really didn't want to be.
Oh, I know.
And I again, this is why I kind of stay in my own space, because and if I'm in a really bad mood, I don't go out because I don't want to give you that energy. Right. And I don't want you to get it.
Right. But you got to care for other people for that.
Exactly. So I definitely, but I think that is a sad reality that Cleveland has that personality, especially for the women. Right. And I don't know what the reason is. I'm not unhappy. Yeah.
So listen, tell our viewers how they can get your book, how they can get more information about you.
Well, you can always Google Melissa Samia, which is my government name. Okay. Melissa is Melisa Samia, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram. That's my email address. That's my website, MelissaSamiaCollins.com. Okay. And I purchase and sell all my books from my own website. Even though you can't find me on Amazon, I would prefer that you hit me directly.
I'm self-published too. Absolutely.
Yes. So and if you ever want to put your stuff on my website, I support and push anybody and everybody because everybody, you can only read my book once. Right. At the end of the day. Right. And so why not push and support one another? So, MelissaSamiaCollins.com and I pretty much same thing on everything.
Perfect. Thank you for being on the show. I'll be back in just a second with some more thoughts. Thank you. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another great episode. We are in season 6 and so thankful for you guys continuing to support Purpose Speaks on YouTube. We'll be back next week with another great show, and don't forget to check out When I Grow Up, I Want to Be a Prostitute.